Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. This is another episode of JAMS Football Power Rankings and more. Today we have another special guest, Günay, Ismailoff. And then we also have our very own Haarris, the truth, Victoria's Secret. So let's try to get right into the power rankings for this week. And number one is coming really easy this week.
Well, I told you guys last week. I told you and Abdul.
You did.
You guys slept on them. And, well, I'll let you announce them.
You've really been telling me for a couple weeks now. You know, it was, you kind of said that you wanted Hurricanes before, you wanted them over Union. And I was like, but look at the points they're putting up, you know. And I tried to argue that if Union had everything together in the playoffs, they probably could have won the whole thing. Look how dominant they were in the previous regular season. You wanted to go with Canes, and I was able to kind of sway you to go Union's way, but you weren't necessarily leaning to do that otherwise. But you were right.
Mm-hmm. Well, really, I just looked at the schedule. Union did have a pretty easy schedule when they started off, but the loss of swag hurt them, and I think our game against Union this past week kind of dropped or tempered their expectations a little bit.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I certainly would.
That's all right. So who do we have at number two?
Number two, we have Swag.
Yes.
Gunay, you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, Swag, they're just professionally sound team. They're whatever the calls they run, everything just clicks together, and that's why I think they're good at number two.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I second that, and I believe you third that.
Yeah, well, for me, I just think Swag has probably the fastest skill positions.
Yeah.
Even their running back, okay, maybe the running back's not the fastest, but he has great vision. He's a very smooth runner. Kind of runs like Arian Foster.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
His cuts, they're all.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was someone, maybe Darren from the Canes. I think, and I hope he's talking about this player. Someone had posted today about which players do you think are the best, you know, performing, and I think he gave a shout out to the running back from Swag. And said that if this was a tackle league, you know, you'd see this guy trucking people and stuff.
Yeah.
And you can clearly see that he's definitely good with the ball in his hands. So he does not get enough credit. And I don't know his name, but you know, shout out to you. So anyway, Swag 2. I was a little bit surprised to see him get shut out. They're known as an offensive powerhouse, so it was a little surprising. But I think that's more of a testament to the Hurricanes than it is, you know, a slight to Swag.
All right.
I agree with that.
Okay, so third we have Union. Coming off a very, very close yet questionable win over VS.
Well, we played them tough. I don't think their defensive line is as dominant as they were the past few years. They're missing a huge piece in Kareem Mahmoud. The offense didn't work well against us. And, well, they really won off one of my own mistakes. So, otherwise, I think it would have been a tie game.
Yeah, and that was a hold in the end zone to save a sack.
I mean, I wasn't in the end zone, but that's what the call was, and I can't change anything about that.
Yeah, and we appreciate you kind of, you know, it's a tough job those refs have. It's only two of them out there, so we certainly understand that, but it's always tough when you know that it's not the actual thing that happened. It's not necessarily the correct call. But anyway, Union, obviously, they're stout. They're solid. So at 4 we have the Knights. They're also coming off another questionable, tough, hard-fought win. You know, at the end of the day, we've said this before on the show. You know, getting your players to show up is all part of, you know, how good your team is. And we did not deliver with that this week. I'm talking about the Titans.
No, we did not.
How many people did we have this week?
We had 10, 11 people, not even.
It was exactly 10 on the dot. Everyone had to play both ways. And hey, for having that many people, you could say that we battled, we fought, but at the end of the day, we didn't get it done.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, let's talk about the field, though. What happened on the field that, changed things?
What happened on the field? So it was a tough defensive battle. You know, each team, you know, really couldn't seem to penetrate the other. And basically, they scored late in the game, the Knights. We get the ball back with 3 minutes and change, maybe a little under 4 minutes to go. We make a drive. We get right down to the not even the half a yard, not even the half yard line. And watch the tape. It's in the public forum. It's posted in the forum this week. It looks like you get in 3 straight plays, and then the third play we were called for a false start. One ref, you
Yeah.
could see him signaling touchdown in the video. The other ref says they weren't set, false start. Would have been a tie game if we got that, and then we would have had the chance for the extra point. So who knows? But it was a close game.
All right, we got the lineman's perspective. What about you as a receiver and corner?
As I was on the side where the referee called a touchdown. Once he called a touchdown, I thought that's it. It's a touchdown. It's called. Looking on the other side, there's a flag on the floor. They can't talk about it. The flag overrules a touchdown when clearly. And another thing what I was gonna say is that touchdown was on his side as well.
I mean,
So
coming from when I saw it, I thought it was a touchdown, but the referee said, and I think it shows in the video, your left side of the line wasn't set. So I think the correct call was made with the, I guess it would be a false start.
yeah.
So, all right, moving on.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm really not going to disagree with that last call. I just maybe feel a little surprised that we didn't get in on one of those first two plays.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, the refs make the calls. If we had played well enough,
would've been-
there should have been no reason why the game came down to that. So, props to Knights on a big win. Anyway,
Fun game.
it was Dime City 5,
Wow.
and we've been praising them a little over the past couple weeks.
They have a solid defense. They won a game when one of their linemen had stepped in at quarterback. They didn't have their starting quarterback. They didn't have their backup quarterback. So they went with team captain Casey Santos. So
And what was the final score of that game? I'm not even sure. I saw parts of the game in person.
I think it was 9-0.
9-0.
Yeah. And their defense still shows up. They still have talented playmakers.
They do.
Have you guys played them yet?
We've not. We will play them not this coming week, but the following week.
Yeah.
And I really like the running back his name is Mike. I butchered his name. I think I called him Chris last week. Props to him. We said he runs angry. We said that if he was one of those guys, if you put on the pads, it looked like he'd do some damage. But I really like him. So.
Yeah, it looks like a proper running back. All right.
Okay. So then we have at 6 we have Code Red. They're coming off of another 7-6 win, which I think they have. This is their 7-7-6 win this year. Another win that they squeaked out. And again, it shows you how important extra points are in this league. Crucial plays. Any comments on those guys?
I mean, they did beat another team that I'd say is on their level, the Gladiators. My thing is, like, how many more games can you squeak out by just scoring maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns? I mean, I'm not saying that it's easy to score more than that, but you got to put a little bit more up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what was their attendance issue this week? Did they have enough guys this week? I believe that I'd have to believe that they had to play with at least 10. But as you know, playing with 10 is no easy task. So I'm wondering, did they field more guys this week? But anyway, you beat the Gladiators. That's a tough team. One thing you think of when you think of the Gladiators, I certainly think of a tough team. Got a couple guys that are, not afraid to get dirty. So when you grind out a win against them, I think it's certainly something to be proud of.
All right. Number 7, is it?
So yes, this would be number 7.
All right. And, well, we're actually at number 7. I kind of disagree with this. I thought, there's no way that after losing the Gladiators, I believe I think we're on a 3 or 4 game losing streak? 3 game.
You guys started off 2-1.
Yeah, okay, so we've been on a 3 game losing streak. We are playing some teams top, but we just can't get the job done.
Yeah.
What are you guys?
Last week was a perfect example. You just said, playing Union, your offense, I thought it was a good ball game. You guys played extremely well. It's just you can't close it.
Something about when you guys get in the red zone, you're just having a tough time finishing. You look at the game last week. You're putting together a game-winning drive, and Saif Abbasi, he pulls his groin while rushing the passer, so he stops. Then Darshek throws a pass. Saif is in a spot he probably wouldn't normally be in because he pulled his groin. The ball gets deflected by someone else, and then it just pretty much drops right into Saif's arms for the interception.
It was reflected off my guy that I was blocking. He jumped up in the air. I should have flattened him. I mean, it is a safe play, but he made the play. I didn't, and he put the team in position to win.
Wow. Yeah, I'd spoken to you about this before. It seems like sometimes Darshek, he's a passer, and you need to be a passer to win in this league. But sometimes maybe taking off on the goal line, could maybe open up some things. It's just a suggestion that I put forth. But anyway, you guys got to get that red zone offense figured out because you're starting to look like the Jets in the red zone.
Ouch. Ouch.
But you have potential, though.
All right.
Maybe more potential than the Jets. Anyway.
All right.
So then we have Gladiators, the team that you actually lost to. We had them at 7. But I feel like, hey, listen, you lose to the Union by 2 points, and you've been playing other teams close. I feel like you guys are just, and I like your offense better.
All right. For me, I do like Gladiators. They've had a lot of people that play in the league for a couple years. Like, I personally gave shout-outs to, like, number 9, Killer Cam.
Yes,
I thought he was a good player.
You did.
I don't think Rigger's as effective as he's been over the past few years. Maybe it's age. It just happens. Otherwise...
He's got a kid now.
Oh,
He's got a
okay.
kid now.
So, I don't know if they're still playing, like, with the same quarterback on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So...
I don't know. I mean, I've seen at least 2 different guys play quarterback this season, maybe potentially 3. I mean, I know in the preseason we scrimmaged at the same field as Gladiators twice, and every time who was playing quarterback, it was Waleed, their captain, who's not been playing quarterback in most of the regular season games. So obviously, all that practice time and stuff, they have new receivers this year. If you don't have the timing down, it's obviously really hard to have a good offense. Okay, and then we have, after Gladiators, we have the Titans at number 9, and I was actually a little bit put back by this. You wanted to put us up higher than this. My kind of thinking was, hey, we only have 1 win. I know we played the Knights tough, but at the end of the day, a loss is a loss. But you wanted to have us higher. So.
I just made the executive decision. I think you guys still have a solid defense. You guys do have a quarterback, but I think it's an attendance issue or sometimes an injury issue.
Yeah, it's attendance-based, which sometimes it has to do with injuries, so...
And you guys were probably, I guess, maybe 6 inches away from winning the game?
At least tying it up.
Mm-hmm. So, I like you guys as a team. You guys still do need a little bit of work, a little bit of, like, an attendance, like, issue. If you guys get that, like, sorted out, you guys have, I think you guys have a chance to make the playoffs. You guys are only, like, really 1 or 2 games back.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, and this is really not a slight to the other teams, it's just stating reality. You look at the last 4 games on our regular season schedule, and it's teams that have sub-500 records. So you'd have to imagine, if we're able to pull off some wins, you'd hope that, and you'd think that it would come later in the season, which...
Some help.
Yeah.
With some help if that's needed.
But I think if we win out, I don't think we'd need help, to be
That's
honest.
true.
Things would take care of themselves. Do you want to add any observations?
It's
Things
just
about our team?
attendance. When you have 10 people playing one game both ways, no breaks, it just gets to you. And it's first time in the league, connection's not the best when, practices, it's just, that's it.
I mean, it's
Like,
tough to
practice
practice.
and
This
stuff.
is a men's
that's the
league,
thing,
and
too.
a lot of people are working and everything.
Like I was about to say later on, we're all in the league for fun. People go to school, everybody has their own jobs. It's hard to get practices, and again, first time in the league as a team, you don't have that much connections.
Yeah.
All right, I got another question for you.
Yeah.
I think you're more actively involved in the offense just because Kyle just has to
Okay.
block.
Yeah.
What's the reason for your offense being so anemic?
Honestly, I think it's just the fact that it's our first time in the league, and the connection, it just needs to get better. If we all, the timings, the connections.
I know there
play
have been
calls,
some games
yeah.
where like you've actually had to line up at quarterback and
Yeah.
well, I know you're not an actual quarterback, but like it's come to that. So
Yeah, exactly. That's the key. That game actually, our quarterback one more, he got hurt.
oh yeah, I
So
remember that's
yeah,
against us.
he got hurt. Yeah, that was against you guys. He
Mhm.
got hurt. He had to step out, and I'm the backup quarterback, so I came in and had to run the offense. And again, even if the backup has to run the offense, timing needs to be there, and it's not right now. Throughout the year, I think it's getting better throughout the games, so hopefully by the end we'll come off, make playoffs.
We'll certainly see. I mean, Boonton's coming off a big win,
Yeah.
and they're looking to make it 2 in a row, and we're looking to make it, our 2nd win of the year.
Yeah.
So
Should be a
good one.
good game.
We'll
All
see
right.
what happens.
Number 10, the Boonton Bounty Hunters.
The team that we just mentioned, the team that we are playing this week. So
Well, the big news is, and I'm not even sure if this is completely official, but
it is.
Okay.
It is official.
I want to say he was last year's MVP. I think he was last All-Star.
I know he
game or
made it to
something.
the All-Star game last year. Last year, the two All-Star quarterbacks were Rajab and Sheikh.
Mm-hmm. And well, last year he tore it up. So now he's joining a Boonton Bounty Hunters team, a team that's been, I want to say they have a championship withdrawal, but all they did was make the championship. They're not playing well. They're not putting up points. They're not defending anything. You think Sheikh is gonna turn the team around rather?
Do you think he's going to turn them around and make them all of a sudden back to the championship? No, I don't.
Maybe
but,
not back to the championship, but at least in the playoff phase.
Certainly in the playoff contention for sure. I mean, I think that he can only make this team better. I mean, I played with him on the same team in the All-Star game last year. He was able to get some kind of offense going. He just seemed like he knew where he wanted people. Playing against him last year, I would say that we, GPAC, we actually had our guys show up last year. My brother played in that game. I would say that we really won on the line of scrimmage. But he knows how to get the ball out quick. He knows where to go with it. And the passes are on the money. And he's just certainly a really good quarterback. So I think that the team can only go up from here, in my opinion.
All right. Do you have any experience with them? Oh, not yet. Okay.
We did. Gunay has scrimmaged against Boonton several times,
Yeah.
but he's obviously never played against Sheikh though.
Yeah. Okay. Number 11.
Yeah. So number 11 we have the Spartans, who they seem to be on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Well, I don't know if they had the same quarterback as they did last week, but they did. Oh, actually, that is a pretty bad loss against Boonton last week.
It was a shutout.
It was a shutout. So.
I mean, we were singing their praises after they beat the Gladiators last week, but losing 0-20 to Boonton, that certainly throws up some red flags because we had talked about Boonton how they weren't really stopping anyone, nor were they scoring a lot, and I think Sheikh really kind of got the offense going. We had a player on our team who said that they went to the game and said that the offense looked effective, and hey, Boonton really hadn't had the effective offense all season, so I think he really did kind of turn that around. But again, the Spartans has had trouble all year putting up points, and they did again this week.
Well, I think the thing is with Spartans is they lost a lot of players this past offseason. Like, this isn't the same team that was last year.
Yeah.
They lost their quarterback, they lost their defensive end, they lost their receiver to injury,
Yeah.
and I think
That's
they
a big
lost a couple
loss.
other people.
Key players,
Yeah.
key positions.
Very,
So
very big loss.
it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest issue with them. I think no one's going to question the heart and the desire that some of the players on that team have, and some really good guys on that team. But yeah, when you lose a couple key positions, players like that, it's certainly tough to overcome. But anyway, so Spartans, we hope that they pick it up. We like them, but we hope that they don't play well against us, which is week 10.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So last place, number 12 in the power rankings, is the Gamebreakers.
Haven't changed much. They're on a 5-game losing streak. The first week was a tie.
First week was a tie.
That
So
was against us.
when I watch the game, like they do have a few good players.
They
but
do.
There's also
I think they have the guy who's leading the league in interceptions.
I don't remember. I mean, I can't really check because the stats
I
are
think
kind of wonky.
They were updated. I checked them today.
Oh,
they
they
were
were?
updated.
Okay.
But I think his name is Brandon Sessoms. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
All right. Well, I mean, I think there's much that I could say from my standpoint that I haven't said before. Good night.
I was actually there with you watching their game this past week, and well, their record shows it. It's just you gotta be well sound as a team to come together, and
The
it's hard.
offensive line did look better last week.
I was just thinking that, I would say from a line perspective, they have, I'm not going to say one of the better lines in the league, but I've seen teams have worse lines for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've seen teams have, I would say, at least decently worse lines. I don't know if I'll go as far as say significantly worse lines, but this team has like a pretty, some guys who are pretty decent on the line. So I think for them, their big problem is just disorganization and dysfunction. They had how many false starts when we played the Gunay? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They had a lot. I mean, they just could not get out of the huddle.
Were they going on a snap count or just?
Sometimes like they'd be, every time you'd hear the ref saying like you got 5 seconds left, and then they're just breaking out of the huddle.
Yeah.
And sometimes they switch the quarterback up, and I don't know. It just looks
the place.
ugly.
Yeah.
Not that there is talent there. I think there are guys there who want to win. It's just, I don't know. There needs to be some kind of organization there. in my
Like,
opinion.
I think this might be a team that goes winless this year. Their last 4 games are against Swag, Gladiators, Boone, and Code Red.
Yeah.
The only team
It's a
that
tough stretch going down.
I mean, it's
You look at
not
it,
it's not inconceivable that they
Yeah.
could rally off a win.
Yeah.
But even when their supposedly easiest team, Boone Bounty Hunters, get a new quarterback, change things up. So
And then we were looking at their schedule last week and saying the same thing. We were questioning whether or not they'd get a win, and we said, hey, you never know. Maybe Boonton doesn't have certain guys show up, and that was the team that we'd spoken about that they might have a chance to beat. But who knows? Maybe Gladiators doesn't show up. Seems like they've had attendance issues. We scrimmaged them a couple times. Seems like they only had 8 guys come out. So who knows? Gamebreakers does have the talent to win. That's for sure. So we're not trying to, make the Gamebreakers feel bad. But anyway, let's go to the games for this week and let's pick them. We're going to each run through. I'm going to say who I think will win a particular game. Gunay will do the same thing, and Haarris will do the same thing. So the first game, VS versus the Knights. VS, Haarris' team. The Knights, the team that we played last week. Go ahead, Haarris.
Well, I'm going to abstain from this one just for obvious
Yeah.
reasons. So it's up to you guys.
Okay. So I'm going to go with, you know what? I really think that you guys have the better offense. And I was impressed with your defense last week. I would hope that you guys can play like that on defense every week. You guys played us tough defensively.
Yeah.
You guys had a pick 6 against us. Could have had a couple more. I think Abdul Salam dropped an interception or 2 against us.
I mean, he was dropping everything that game, so.
Okay. So, I think that you guys clearly, in my estimation, have the better offense. And I know the quarterback from Knights said he likes the videos, so we like you, Knights quarterback. But I don't know. I just think the VS offense is better, and I think that's enough to. You need to have some kind of offense in this league. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm coming to learn. And I think it's gonna be a close one, but I'm gonna go with VS in this one. They're gonna break the losing streak and break the Knights winning streak.
And again, I agree with you. Just watching your past game this week, your offense showed up to play this week. Couldn't close it out, but plays were there. And in a league where defense, well, in every league, I believe defense wins championships. So as long as your defense shows up, your offense, I think, will give you guys a win this week.
Well, to be fair, I think our defense has been what
Yeah.
has been keeping us in games. I don't think we've given up more than, besides the Gamebreakers game, which they did score garbage time touchdowns, we haven't given up more than, I think, 14 points, if that. So,
Yeah, I think week 1 you only let up 14 to the Hurricanes.
yeah.
Which is the
So,
consensus number 1.
so if our offense, if we just get our things together, if we just fix our play calling, I think we do have a shot. I mean, I won't say we'll never ever have a shot, but it's just the little things. I will like to note that, although the Knights are on a winning streak, the past 3 wins have been against the Spartans, the Gamebreakers, and you guys. They've had a shutout in all 3, but even against you guys, they just won by a touchdown.
Barely by a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. It's a 7:30 game on Saturday, right after Halloween. So, it's going to be a tough game.
Will be.
The 8:45 game on Saturday, Hurricane Spartans.
Hurricane Spartans.
All right.
Hurricanes. Hurricanes. I think they're going to win big, too.
Hurricanes.
I don't think Spartans will score.
Yeah.
And it's sweet. So, I just don't see Spartans pulling through.
Yeah, I don't see them being able to put up a point. No disrespect to the Spartans, but, just how I feel. All right, so Code Red versus the Union.
And that's the first game on Sunday.
Okay. And this is North Arlington, correct?
Riverside,
Yeah.
North
Yeah.
Arlington.
So I'm going to go with the Union on this one. I think that they're just better than Code Red. I think they're certainly better on the line. I think that's one of the places where I think Code Red struggles. Hopefully they don't have attendance issues again. I do think Big O is a pretty good quarterback, but Rajab is consistently one of the best quarterbacks in this league, and I think just the Union is just very organized. I think they're going to bounce back. They realize they had a tough win this week and that they need to play better. I think they're going to win.
I also agree with the Union, and every week I see them play. They've been. This is my first time in the league, and all I've heard is throughout all the years in the league, they've been together, and their team chemistry is just phenomenal. And every time I watch them, I say it. I think they're gonna win this game.
Yeah, they've been in the championship 3 of the past 4 years.
I know
Just last year that
they've
weren't in
won 3 championships. So I don't know if they've ever been to a championship and lost. I'm not quite sure.
there. No, they just didn't make it to championship last year.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I'm just saying I know for a fact they have won 3.
Well, for me, I'm actually gonna make an upset pick.
Really?
I think the Union are kind of reeling a bit. They lost swag. They didn't really shut us out. They had difficulty with us. And I think if Code Red actually has people show up, I think, hey man, any given Sunday, right?
Is this the same guy who last week on this very same show, and if you want to watch the video, go and watch it, he said, I don't respect Code Red that much this year. You said those exact words.
I still don't think they're as good of a team, but I think if they make the right plays at the right times, it could happen. I mean, last week we were a 2-3 team, and we hung on with the Union.
That's true.
These guys are 4-2.
They can be beaten. They
Yes.
can be beaten.
So
We'll see.
So it's an upset pick. Why not take a chance?
All right. No, I like that you were brave. All right. So Titan versus the Boonton Bounty Hunters. Me and Gunay will abstain on this one.
Oh, so I make the executive decision on this one?
Yes.
I think I just have them beat right now. You guys, offense still anemic. I don't like.
We don't disagree. We don't disagree. We're optimistic, but at this point in time.
But, I mean, this is a team that has given up the second most points in the league. So I think you guys could finally punch it in. You guys still have a strong defense, and even with Shake, like, can they protect him? That's also a big issue. And if this is first week, he doesn't have any chemistry with receivers. He probably doesn't even know half the team's names. So I think you guys have a bit of an advantage.
Okay. We certainly like to hear that.
All right.
Okay. And then we have Gladiators and Dime City.
Ooh, this is a good matchup.
This is.
It might be.
Gunay, why don't you start us off on this one?
I think I might have to go with Dime City.
Why?
Just looking at the matchup, it might be a close game. It could go either way, but I see Dime City offense pulling a close one in this game.
Okay.
Going out with who coming out for the win.
I'm gonna go with Dime City as well. I feel like they're kind of on the rise, and Gladiators seems to be reeling a little bit. I don't know. I think Dime City's hungry, and maybe I'm questioning that a little bit with the Gladiators.
Wow, this is interesting. I kind of like how Dime City has become like that one. I don't want to say underdog, but they're just that very likable team.
They are.
And
Yeah.
I think they're sweet, but I think they have more talent on their team as a whole. I just don't think that the Gladiators can score that much on Dime City's defense. It depends on you guys' attendance and who's playing quarterback. Like, sorry, Casey, but you don't have that great of an arm. So, like, as long as they have the right people, make the right plays and everything.
My whole thing is, who is the quarterback for Dime City? Because I know that when we scrimmaged them, they had, I think, 2 different people play at a certain point. And they had one guy who, he's certainly a good athlete, but you could tell that he did not like throwing the ball. He was a run first type of guy. He was a run first, run second, run third type of guy. He did not like throwing it at all. This is no disrespect. And he was a good runner, but passing was not his forte. So do they have another guy who is more of a pure passer? I don't know, because we didn't play them in the regular season.
Well, they're a team that's just going to out-physical you at the line. They'll run down your throats, or they'll just find like quick passes to their receivers. Their starting quarterback, from what I've seen, is actually a guy that looks very similar to Gunay. A very similar hairstyle.
Okay.
And also,
So
I think
it's
a white
definitely
guy. So it's a little interesting. Their backup quarterback, I didn't think he was very good, but I don't even know if he shows up to the games anymore.
Yeah. I saw him one week and then didn't see him the next. So
Yeah.
if he shows up, like I said, it could be a whole different story.
All right.
Okay.
The last game of the week, it's Swag against Gamebreakers. And, I mean, I don't see much changing here. I'm just going to simply pick Swag.
Yeah.
Swag.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is the biggest blowout of the season.
Ooh. Ooh.
I'm just being serious. You know, Swag, they're going to be angry coming off of a shutout loss themselves. They're going to come out hungry, and Gamebreakers, are they going to step up? I mean, are they going to, everyone's down on them. No one thinks that they're going to get a win. are they going to pull through? And because if they don't pick it up, I mean, we could be looking at an ugly one this week.
If you're calling the biggest blowout of the season, can I get a score?
Oof.
I would say something to the tune of 35-0, something like that.
I was thinking something similar.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, around the same. Could go over 40s, maybe.
That's tough. I was kind of like...
If there's defensive touchdowns in the game, and when we played them early in the season, there was a bunch of calls on offense.
And it's
if
possible.
It gets ugly,
it's
it could go over
possible.
40.
I know Swag had a couple, at least one or two pick sixes week one when they played Spartans.
Mm-hmm.
So it could happen.
Yeah.
And the worst is, like, I remember last year, it's not when Swag or, like, intense the game. It's when they start having fun, because then they pull out all these tricks out of their playbook. Last year they hit us with reverses, reverse passes, where they toss to the guy running the jet screen, jet screen, and he just airs it out. And when they start having fun with their playbook and know that they can dominate you, it's not fun playing for the other team.
Yeah.
They tried doing that against us last year. I remember they ran like some reverse to D'Lo on the goal line and like I broke past and got him in the backfield.
Yeah,
he was really angry at his lineman.
But then they had 3 other plays where they just completely destroyed us on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I obviously can't talk crap because we did not play well against them. All right, so let's turn to our interview part of the show where we're going to interview our guest this week. We want to try to at least get some of the teams, get some different people in there, try to highlight them where and when we can. So we have Gunay here. This is his first year in the league, very first. So I want to kind of get some of your impressions. This is your first year in the league. What are your first impressions about the league? Think in terms of like, organization, competition, etc. Like, what are your first impressions about playing in this league?
Before the season started, I honestly didn't see this coming. As in officials, the organization, the website, it was honestly something that I was looking for. In college, with a job, working 30 hours a week, everybody has full-time jobs and go to school, and honestly, I love it. It's so fun.
It's so fun.
Look forward for it every week,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you could tell. I mean, this guy clearly loves it. We had the early game last week, and we showed up to the field. It was still dark.
Yeah.
In fact, me and one of the guys, we prayed Fej in the parking lot, which is the morning prayer for the non-Muslim viewers, and. Gunay, he shows up very shortly thereafter, and he's all the way up in Clifton. It's coming down to Bridgewater, and it's still, he's coming, and as soon as he gets out of his car, he said something like, "Game day, let's go, baby," something to the tune of that. So clearly, you could tell he loves playing. All right, Haarris, do you want to go ahead with one of your questions?
All right. So you've only played this is week 7. So you've only played about 6 weeks of football in this league, and I know it's a lot to take in. But is there, like, any team or player that's actually, why not both? Is there any team or player that have impressed you or stood out to you more than any other?
Team, I would definitely say the Union, and like I said before, that's because they've just been together all league, and their team chemistry is so high. And I say that every time I see them play. And player-wise, I think it would be D'Lo from Swag. When we played them. Our game, that was one of the probably most fun games I had, just being matched up against him and watching him. He goes to the huddle, he calls the plays, and it was just fun playing against him. And I don't know how many catches you had that game. Just saying. That was just a fun game, and D'Lo was just a fun player to watch.
That's he's 2 weeks in a row with a D'Lo shout out.
Yes, from the interviewed person. So he's getting a lot of love.
Yeah, he gets a lot of love.
Okay, so you're known on our team as a guy who has a lot of football knowledge, very X's and O's type of guy. So would you just be willing to share, where you get some of your knowledge from, and it's a deep question,
okay, it is.
But
honestly, in high school, it was probably be our offensive coordinator, and in high school I only played offense, and it was because of him. And I would just, after practice, just stay with him. Coach Tills, shout out to you. But yeah, he was probably because of him. He got me into offense and X's and O's, and as a receiver, I would actually know every single play in the playbook because of him.
Well, and you'd be able to tell other people what their assignment was. And have you read any books, X's and O's type of books from football writers?
Not books-wise, but I do watch a lot of YouTube videos. That goes to everybody. If you want to learn something, go to YouTube.
The reason I was asking that and thinking about that is because I remember you sent us a picture about a book that you read or a Howie Long book.
Oh, I think that.
Wait, is
Yeah,
it like a
what you're talking
biography
about.
book or like a?
No, it was like a Howie Long, like how to play football or something.
That was funny. I was at Barnes and Noble studying that day, and I kind of walked through the aisle looking at football books.
Oh, okay.
I sent that in the.
So you never read it. You just kind
Nah,
of.
yeah, I was just skimming through it, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right, cool.
All right, so my other question is, you guys are by far the youngest team in this league. This is a team, or this is a league that generally has people who are married, have kids. They're basically, I want to say they're past that athletic prime. Sorry, guys. And like, on my team, I'm basically the youngest player. I'm 22 years old. On your team, you just cracked 19, I believe.
I've been 19.
And then you have another player that also just turned 19
He
this
just
week.
turned
Yeah.
19.
So how do you think that has affected you in like the wins and loss column and like the organization aspect? Of
That's
playing
what
football?
probably I was most impressed with how people come out on Saturday, Sunday mornings. They have jobs, kids. You know, I'm just in college. We're all out here trying to have fun, and that's probably what
Oh, I'm talking about your team specific.
the team
Like,
specific.
how does that affect it? Like
That
your on the field?
of course that affects you because as a younger team, you would think, you know, talent-wise, energy-wise, you would come off with these wins against these teams with, you know, older players. And nothing to you older players, I just love watching you guys play. How you guys are out there running around, it's just...
Some of them are impressive athletes. I don't
Yeah,
lie.
that's what I'm trying to say. Some of you guys are impressive athletes, and that's what makes it fun for everybody, I would say.
I think you have one last question, Haarris.
Who has a better beard, Kyle or Avon Frog?
My man Kyle, what kind of question is that?
Why though?
Wow, are you talking up to him right now?
No, I'm not.
Wait.
I'm not. Kyle...
Why though? Why? Because there are some people that think he's got the better beard.
Oh wait, this has actually been a conversation, you guys.
This has been a conversation before.
Nah, Kyle has a better beard.
Is it the redness? I
Yeah, it's the redness.
mean, all right. So with that being said, I'm Kyle,
I'm Haarris,
And I'm
this.
Gunay.
and
See you guys next week.
we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.